Alright, welcome back ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tetra Ninja and we're once again back covering the next generation consoles. Today we are taking a look at the Xbox One controller in depth and comparing it to the other controllers, the PlayStation 4 controller and then its predecessor, the Xbox 360 controller. So the Xbox One controller is front and center right here. So I got a chance to play around with it a bit, and what I can say is that if you like the Xbox 360 controller, then you will definitely like the Xbox One controller because they have tweaked it a tiny bit, but that have not strayed too far away from the formula which made everyone love the Xbox 360 controller. So first thing I noticed when I played it with it is that the front face of the controller is actually a lot flatter. It's not as curved as the Xbox 360 controller. So as well, change-wise in comparison to the previous generation, we now actually have force feedback on the triggers, even though no game has really incorporated this quite yet. But I assume further along we get into this generation that eventually we will see games take advantage of this mechanic. The bumpers feel very, very nice. And on the back, we have the power slot for the batteries. It takes two AA batteries, but I can only assume eventually that they're gonna develop some sort of rechargeable battery pack for that. So we'll put that back on, if I can. And then we have a micro USB jack right here, which you can use to charge the controller or plug it in directly into the Xbox One. We have the sync button right there. And we also have on the front, we have the home button, which actually lights up just like the previous console did. That nice white glow, very sleek. And we'll have two, I can only assume this is going to be the start and select buttons. And next thing I noticed right here, we'll actually put this down so my hands won't block everything. They have upgraded the D-pad in a huge way. So what you can tell is that there was a lot of ire that the D-pad of the Xbox 360 controller created because it had this weird thing where it would, you can't really use the side buttons very well without accidentally hitting it on an angle. This really only affected a certain genre of video games, especially the fighting community. And if you're a hardcore fighting fan, you're most likely going to be using arcade fight stick. But for us who are a little bit more casual and just wanted to play some fighting games on the go, you could not use this controller at all to get any sort of combos. So they have completely revamped that. They fixed it. The D-pad is nice now. It is nice and clicky, nice and responsive, and everyone is happy and all is right with the world. So next thing I noticed is that they've actually decreased the size of the joysticks. They're not as wide anymore, and much like how the PlayStation 4 controller, it actually has little grooves in it. But unlike the PlayStation 4, it actually has some, it's a little bit serrated, so I can assume that's only to help you get a little bit more grip. And in terms of the face buttons, I actually prefer the face buttons on the Xbox 360 controller a little bit better. Not in terms of responsiveness or anything, but just overall aesthetics. I like the bright colors of this one, but I'm assuming that they're just going for a more sleek and minimalistic look to it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This one is the day one edition, so it has that little stencil right there. But other than that stencil, there's really no difference between a day one edition one or just a regular one. So don't feel left out if you do not get a day one edition Xbox One. No big deal. So yeah, feels good in my hands. Nothing to complain about. So the next thing I'm going to test out is because wired Xbox 360 controllers work perfectly on PC. So I'm wondering if I hooked up a micro USB cable to this, then to a computer, will I be able to play PC games on it? So let's do that real quickly. All right, so we have the Xbox One controller connected to a micro USB, which is plugged directly into my PC right here. And before we even do any testing, I can tell you that's not gonna work because the drivers failed to install when I plugged it in. But this is BioShock Infinite's main menu screen, and you can see I power it on. Nothing happens. And I did this with the PlayStation 4 controller as well, and it didn't work. And that's not to say that it will never work, because they could always very easily just update and set up some drivers to make these controllers work, or then maybe they'll release a wired version of the Xbox One controller, which they did with the 360 one, which allowed you to play with it on PC. But at launch, currently, you cannot use it as a secondary PC gamepad. So there you go, that's the test. Anyways, that's my first look and review of the Xbox One controller. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Look forward to more content. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. I will be posting updates on a regular basis of Xbox One and PlayStation 4. And other than that, drop the video a quick rating if you would like, and have a fantastic day as always.